Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a tutorial on how to get a relatively simple airport into AeroFly FS2. What we're going to do today is we're just going to create a reference image in Flight Sim tiles. Now, this is not a tutorial on Flight Sim tiles, so I've got it pre-set up. I'm going to be doing CYHZ Halifax, Nova Scotia, which I've got a rectangle drawn around it, and I'm going to click start and going to start creating my reference image. So while that's doing it, I'm going to go into 3D Studio Max and we're going to set it up. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we're on shaded and edged faces. We're also going to configure our viewports and look at our display performance, and we're going to set it up so that we're at 4096 pixels. That will give us a decent amount of quality for our image. We're we'll go back and check on our FS2 tiles, which we're about halfway done right now. Also, while you're watching this, if you want, you can go to mygeoposition.com. What that's going to allow you to do is that's going to allow you to convert the latitude and longitude coordinates that you're going to get out of FSET or Flight Sim tiles, and convert it into a latitude and longitude that's a decimal. Instead of the degrees, minutes, and seconds, you want to be able to convert it to just a decimal, which is what it's doing here. So we're almost done over there. Also, we're also going to be setting up a basic TSC file, which is it's just a straight text file that AeroFly uses to create things like your runway, like your objects and your decals, which we're only going to be doing the runway today. That's why I've commented all these out. And we're also going to set up our content converter as well. And one other thing we're also going to set up here is this, which is just a simple way for me to remember what my what all of my coordinates and stuff are. So we've now got our reference image done. So what we need to do is we need some information out of here. We need to highlight the data, latitude and longitude down here. Click on copy, and I'm going to paste them into this file. And I'm also going to paste them into my geoposition and hit enter. So now we have our coordinates. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut and paste the decimal values out because we're going to need those later. So Control C on that. And Control V. And my geoposition. And cut and paste that. Control C. Control V. The other thing we're going to need is the size of this rectangle. So you'll notice up here it's in nautical miles, which is 2.058 nautical miles. So if you 2.058 nautical miles, I'll recheck that just in case. Yep. And that's going to be 38, right? That's in meters. So we'll copy that. And we'll put it in here. Go back to FSET to get the other one, which is 1.937. 1.937, which is 3587.324. And just put this in here. And this file here is just so that in case I lose it, I know what my numbers are. Okay, so now we have the size of our square. We have the latitude and longitude in degrees, minutes, and seconds, and we have the latitude and longitude in decimal degrees. So now we go back into 3D Studio Max, make sure we're at the top view, and we're going to create a plane. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the keyboard entry for plane, and we're going to do the length is the 3587, and copy the 3811, paste it into there, and create it. And we may have to zoom out. So now we've got that in. Now what we have to do is we have to get a reference image. So under FSet, wherever you install it, there should be a work directory. Now, after you've generated it out of FSet, right in here, this large bitmap, I'm just going to rename this to reference, and I'm going to copy it into my working directory. Now, I've set up a working directory called AeroFly CYHZ, and I'm going to paste that into there. Okay, so set up your thing. Now, this is where your CYHZ TSC file is, and your content converter as well, and we'll get into that a little later. So now we go back into here, we open up our material editor, and we click on diffuse, bitmap. We find our AeroFly CYHZ. There's our reference bitmap. Put it to there, make sure it's on. And there is our reference bitmap. So this is where everything starts from. So how do we get started? Okay, so first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a line. So what we're going to do is we're going to create what they call an island around this, just on the outside. So this will flatten the terrain within this. So I'm just going to do a quick okay, so we just created our first spline. Now we got a couple of different options here we can do. With this particular airport, I'm just going to create one. I'm just going to create one runway. I'm not going to create everything for this tutorial. I'm just going to create one. So we're going to create another line across the runway. Again, this is just a basic tutorial on how to get this stuff going. So we circle a runway. Now, what I would recommend, of course, if once you do this, is you go edit it, go into the modify line and vertex, go to the vertexes, set them up where you want. So let's say there, go down to the other end. And like I said, when you're doing yours, just be very careful. So that's our runway. So now we're going to begin. Click on line, pull your pull down and go to edit spline. Click on attach and attach it to the outside island spline. And we're going to edit poly. Oops, sorry. Nope. We're actually going to quantify. I'm going to quantify the mesh. So that puts it in quads because apparently AeroFly FS2 requires it like that. So now that we've quantified it, you'll notice that it didn't quantify inside our inside of that, which is exactly what we want. And now we're going to go to edit poly. And we're going to go to border. And we're going to select the border So you can see it highlights the border of our runway. And we're going to click on cap. So what that does, of course, is that will actually fill that in. You'll notice it fills it in. Then we're going to chamfer it, or chamfer it, depending on how you pronounce it. And we just click on the little settings. Chamfer is going to be 1 meter. Click that. And what that does is it creates basically a double set of lines for us. So now the next thing we have to do is we have to go into our polys. And we have to cut some lines on our polys, because the engine that we're running doesn't like just one big large polygon. So this is just, again, it's up to you to what you want to do. Oh, and one thing I'll load on the next one. I should have mentioned this earlier. Do the outside line to the outside line. Then click the right mouse button to end it. So it's basically left mouse button, outside line, left mouse button, outside line, and then right mouse button to end. Same thing. And that should be enough, I think. Okay, so next thing we're going to do now is we're going to select or uncut, select our polys, select all of our polygons. You click on them and hold down the control key. So now we have all of the inside polys selected. Now we go up and we click grow, and we now have all of the polys for our runway set. So now what we have to do is we have to set our material ID right here. So if you go up to 2, that means that it has set the material ID for those polygons to 2. Just to test that, clear selection, come down to 1 and click on select ID. It'll select everything but that. And this comes in later when we're texturing. So now we have our material ID set up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our material. So we're going to go up here. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to create 3 materials. So the first one you're going to create is, oops, I know I forgot to do something. Let's grab some textures out of one that I have. You're going to have to find some textures for your runway. Okay, so I'm going to grab those 3 because I've had them. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to create one here. Now this one is going to be called CYHZ _ airport _ runway. Okay, so you have to name that at the top level. So go there, bitmap, and we'll runway dark color. Go back up. You have to unclick this, select our ambient channel. Okay, and we're going to do it a light color, and make sure that you set the map channel to 2. So now you have an ambient channel and a diffuse channel for that one. So that's going to be our runway. This one is going to be CYHZ _ airport _ outside. In other words, this is the one that is everything but the runway. And we'll just, it doesn't really matter what you have for this. But you still need, and of course it's very important that it's named at the highest level. So make sure you always go up to the root, and the CUIHZ, which is in my case my airport name, _airport _outside. And again, I'll reiterate again, CUIHZ airport _runway. Now we're going to create a third one, but this time it's not going to be a standard texture. It's actually going to be a multi-sub-object texture. And we'll discard the old material to get rid of everything. And we're only going to need 2. So we delete until we got those. So now our material ID number 1 is our outside, and our material ID number 2 is our inside, or our runway. So click on the runway, whoops, sorry, hold down and drag into here, and I'm going to use a copy of it, and you'll notice it airport runway, so that's good. And then drag that one into there and copy it again. And so now we assign a material to the selection, and that's it for our material. So now the next thing we have to do after we do this is this is a function of AeroFly. You have to tell it which vertices are going to be on and which vertices are going to be off. Okay, so I'm going to, whoops, sorry. First things first, we got to UVW map it. So pull down, unwrap UVW, make sure you select all the faces. Okay, and open the UVW editor and just center it as best you can. Zoom out and just widen it a bit, and oops, there. Okay, so it's good there. Now edit mesh. Too far down. Okay, so edit the mesh. So all your vertices. So press Control A. So that selects them all. Now you're going to come down here and you're going to make them all red. Now they look red in the screen, but this is a different type. So you select 255 for red, hit the tab key, 0, 0. Okay, so now that means they're all on. Now go to Edit Poly, select Polygon, come down, and you're going to select ID number 1. Clear selection, of course, and select. So now that all that you're doing is you're selecting everything on the outside. Now your poly should be lit. Now hold down the Control key and select Vertex. So now you'll notice that all the outside ones are selected because they're red, but all the inside ones are not. So now you go Edit Mesh again. Select vertices, that's good. Come down here and change this from color red to color black. That tells AeroFly FS2 to do not turn these ones off. In other words, they're see-through for obvious reasons. So now, Vertex Paint, and okay, let's hide this. And notice that everything is black on the outside, everything's red in there. So that's perfect. Okay, so we'll close that. So now, File, Export, Export select. Now, hopefully you've downloaded the SDK and installed the iPac TGI TSC exporter. And we're going to go to the directory. And this is going to be CY8Z_RWY. Runway. Save it. Make sure it's scene replace, export. Make sure we got no warnings or errors, which we don't, so that's good. So now we're going to go on and figure out, okay, so how do we get this, now that we have the runway, how do we get this into the sim? And what I'll do is I'll end this tutorial here, and then I'll create a second tutorial for how to get it into that. So I'll see you then.